It's been a little while since I've taken a look at a projector, and so I thought we might take a look at this one today. This is the DB Power LED Light Source Mini Projector, and as you can see from the size of my hand, it's not a terribly huge projector, and the price isn't half bad. It's about $84 over on Amazon, although the specs leave a little to be desired. For the price point, it's hard to argue. Let's open it up. We'll go through the specs once I find the user manual inside of it. So inside the box, you get the power cable, a video breakout cable. This will never get touched. A remote, very colorful remote, that does take 2 AAA batteries that do not appear to be included. The projector itself, the user manual, and a warranty card, and just some more information about the company behind this. And that's about everything. Now inside of this user manual, we can see some specs and the layout and everything. And here's where those limitations will become pretty obvious. Native resolution is 800 by 480. It does have an LED lamp, which means it should last a really long time. The brightness is 1200 lumens, which is pretty decent. And it has a max resolution supported of 1920 by 1080, but like I said, it's 800 by 480, which means it's going to take that 1080 and it's going to kind of squish it down. We'll see how it looks here in a minute. And then over on this side, you can see the layout, but while I look at the layout in the book, let's just look at it on the projector itself. I will say the size of this is definitely very small. So here on top, if you can see it, we've got 2 dials. We've got the focus and the keystone. The keystone has a bit of a switch to it. There's a power button with an indicator light over it. On the back, you've got the power switch, the power input, USB, HDMI, headphone jack, or line out, I would suppose. AV, that's where you're going to actually put in that breakout cable if you ever want to use that. The IR for the remote control, and a VGA port. And basically all the other sides should have a whole bunch of nothing on them. Then in the front, there's this little cap over it just to help protect everything. But there's the lens and what appears to be a fan grill. I almost completely missed it here. It does also have a little foot here on the bottom for adjustment, so you can unscrew it here to give yourself a little bit of extra height for wiggle room. And it does come out entirely once you unscrew it, so the highest it can probably go safely is about 1 inch to 1.5 inches. But I think without any further ado, let's go ahead and we'll plug this in. We'll test some HDMI sources with it, see what it looks like, and probably test it in a couple of different rooms. This room, which is decently well lit but not overly bright, and then the living room, which right now is pretty dim, because I got a feeling you're going to have a bit of a dim room to make this thing halfway decent. Let's get started. Alright, and I've gone ahead and hooked up my Shield TV to it. So as you can see in this general area, we've actually got the projector projecting onto a screen. If I interact with the Shield TV using the remote, I can go back and forth between things, and actually the picture looks very clear, but it's just a little bit washed out in here. Again, this room is a very well-lit room. Although I'm not hearing any audio coming out of it, I'm guessing maybe it doesn't have built-in speakers. But the remote does have a mute button on it, so maybe once I play something. But let's also see if I can adjust the picture to make it any brighter. So if I go into the menu, go into Picture and Picture Mode, I set it to User just a minute ago, I should be able to turn the brightness up. Let's see if I put it all the way up to 100. It's just making it really washed out, so that's not really a great option. Maybe if I turn contrast up to go along with it. Now it's just turning it into a white picture. That's not great. So let's go back to, there's vivid and standard. There's a few options there. So you got vivid, standard, soft, and then whatever you want to set it to yourself. I think we'll just leave it on standard though. You can change the aspect ratio and the noise reduction. Sound mode is standard. There's also music and movie, sports, and user. Under option, you can actually flip the on-screen display. You can do focusing, software updates, but apparently it's going to try to do that update over USB, so that's not going to work right now. So yeah, unfortunately, if you're in a well-lit room, just as with most projectors, it's not going to work all that well. But if I were to go into YouTube and look at one of my videos, I can actually hear the clicking, so maybe it's just some of the sounds don't play. And yeah, actually, it's the audio is coming out of it. It's just the speaker is very small and the fan in this is very loud. So you're going to want to have a pair of speakers to connect to it if you really want to do that. Let's take it into a dimmer room though and see if it looks any better. So now in a much more dimly lit room, you can see it's much clearer. It's much easier to see. You can actually adjust the keystone if you're not quite right on axis. You've got a little bit of wiggle room to it there, but that seems to be about right. It looks like I've got it about level. And of course you can always focus it in and out. That appears to be pretty close to in focus. And again, if I go over to one of my videos, I'm able to hear it. And again, the speaker, it's not all that great. It's on the back of the device. And in order to get it to work, I did have to mute and unmute the projector using the button on the remote. But again, it does work.
Hey guys, I'm Brent Rose, writer and son.
But definitely not bad, just checking out a video on the solar eclipse here. The biggest problem that I can see is just obviously that fan, and you can probably hear it with me talking, that fan is very loud and it does not go off. It is going to keep it decently cool, and it means that you're not going to have to wait a huge amount of time after you turn it off in order to be able to turn it off completely and unplug it. But still, it's a little bit of a bummer that it's that loud. Additionally, if you click the source button over here, you can see VGA, AV, and multimedia. VGA and AV are not sources that I'm ever going to be using anymore. Multimedia, though, let's see what that does. You've got photo, music, movie, and text. Presumably that's if you stick a USB flash drive onto it, or maybe even a USB hard drive, but I'm not able to actually select any of these things. Let me see if I can find a flash drive that has anything on it. Alright, I found a USB flash drive, and I think it has some photos and some videos on it, so as you can probably see right up here, there's now a USB flash drive shown. If I select photo, it said C, and then there's a couple of things on here, a couple of folders, and then you can actually see things. This is all marketing material for a video I did a long time ago. I don't use flash drives anymore, but you can see the photo there, and if I return, I can go over to movie, and again, the same kind of thing, C:, that's interesting. If I go into the thermostat, there's a video on here, and it gives me a bit of a preview of it.
The Sensi Wi-Fi programmable thermostat.
And if I hit play on it, it looks like, it's actually going to play it full screen. Okay.
The Sensi Wi-Fi programmable thermostat was designed
because there are buttons on the remote here for play, pause, stop, and those do appear to work appropriately. But if your flash drive does have those things on it, it looks like it can handle it appropriately. But I guess all in all, just very early impressions of this for the price point. If you just need something to project movies for the family or something for a quick gathering and you don't want to pay hundreds and hundreds of bucks, even though this is an 800 by 480 projector, it's got a really nice picture to it. The audio quality leaves a lot to be desired, but I think it would get the job done if you're in a pinch. So I'm going to go ahead and put a link to where you can find it down in the video description if you're interested in checking it out. Thanks so much to DB Power for sending this over for me to take a look at. Thanks to you guys for watching. If you like this, if you like the product, or maybe the way I presented it, go ahead and hit that thumbs up down below. I definitely appreciate it. If you didn't like it, that's cool too. Hit the thumbs down, I don't mind. Subscribe to the channel though, so you do get notified whenever I put out new videos. If that little subscribe button is red, like the YouTube logo is right over here, smack it, turn it white, make it subscribed, and ding the little bell if you want to get notified whenever I put out new videos. I do attempt to do every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. But again, thank you so much for watching. We'll see you again next time.